Is the Chicago real estate market hot or not? In this video, if you're a first-time home seller, I really want you to watch this in its entirety. I'm going to be giving you 5 questions to ask yourself as a first-time home seller, and we're starting right now. By now, if you don't know who I am, you're probably under a rock. I am Anant Deoras, AD and EXP Realtor in the city of Chicago, and through my The Chicago Life YouTube channel, I talk about the neighborhoods and real estate of Chicago. And the 5 questions, I'm going to give them to you right now. You're going to want to know how the market is. You're going to want to know your home's value based upon the market conditions. You're going to want to know common closing costs. You're going to want to know what you need to do to prep your home for sale. And then finally, there's something called client for life. Wait till the end of the video and I'll talk about that. Simply put, Chicago has been better able to absorb the shocks of what has been happening in the run-up with appreciation in the southwestern, west locations of the U.S. And so that's good and bad. Of course, it's able to absorb the shocks, but that means there hasn't been a really rapid appreciation of home prices. So, all this talk of a crash is, I believe, all hogwash. No one really has a crystal ball, but even if we go into a recession, job market is very strong. And if we happen to lose people, unfortunately lose jobs, which is going to happen, is very unfortunate. There's such limited supply that any properties that are going to come to the market as a foreclosure or a short sale, that can be absorbed and the market still won't quote unquote crash. Everything, of course, is local. I always say it, local in Chicago. It's not just Chicago on the whole, it's the neighborhoods. And more than likely you're in an appreciating neighborhood, such as somewhere in the West Town community, in the near west side, north side, far north side. So you're in a community that is already appreciation, so you don't necessarily have to worry about foreclosure. Now it's interesting to point out that foreclosures, which is always the fear, which happened in the 2008 crash, you had this whole wave of supply. We're simply not seeing that, folks, because even if, God forbid, again, someone loses their job, they have equity in their home. So they could sell their home and still pull out some equity and go rent, versus what happened in that crash. People were they lost their jobs and they were forced to sell and of course go into foreclosure, and the banks had to repossess the home. It says here Illinois unfortunately does have one of the highest foreclosure rates, but again, everything is perspective. The foreclosure starts have been, as you can see here, so low percentage-wise. An increase doesn't really make much of an impact. And even if there is a foreclosure, 85% based on Adam. Adam is an analytical firm that analyzes foreclosures and housing data. 85% of those homes, and this is Illinois, probably higher in Chicago, have equity. So you're not going to have a lot of foreclosures. You already have very low supply. You have existing homeowners such as yourself. You own a home right now. You probably have a wonderful mortgage rate. So there isn't much of an incentive. And because of that low supply, guess what? How's the market for you as a seller? It's fantastic because you can get a high price with multiple offers with such low supply. So to determine, as your number 2, your home value, if your particular market, again, everything is even down to the neighborhood level. You have the West Town community, for example, but you have the Wicker Park neighborhood market, you have the Noble Square market, you have the Ukrainian Village market, etc., right? So let's say hypothetically you live in a Wicker Park, right? Market's pretty strong there. People are getting multiple offers. I've had buyers that were in the River West, a beautiful townhome, multiple offers within hours of the open house, right? So unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly what your value is because everyone lives in different areas of Chicago. So I do have a market report below if you'd like to sign up. You can also get your estimate. But the best way to do is to reach out to me, right? I'm happy to have a consultation with you. I want this right here, listen to what your life event that is causing you to consider selling. We can have that consultation. If the numbers don't make sense, you sit on the sidelines. If they make sense, we move forward, and these next questions will be relevant to you. So that's home value. Now, it's important to note, right, when you sell your home, unless you own it outright, even if you own it outright, there are costs associated with selling your home, right? So basically, you're going to take your loan balance, you're going to deduct it from whatever the final sales price is, less any closing costs, and that will be your net proceed. So it's a couple of closing costs you should know. Title has their own, some miscellaneous costs. The big ticket ones within title is based on sales price. You will have to pay title insurance. That is to protect your interest, to make sure that the title is free and clear of any defects, right? There's no liens. And that could range. It depends on your home. If it's a $500,000 home, expect at least $3,000 or $4,000. And again, these are estimates. If you want more firmer numbers, I can connect you with my attorney partner. I can get some information for you. That's one. Of course, commission, which ranges, can be anywhere from 5 to 7%. It just depends. I do not have a set commission rate. So title, insurance, miscellaneous fees, commission. Of course, transfer taxes. Of course, the city and the county and the state, they got to get theirs. It is currently, all those government bodies combined, it's $4.50 per 1,000 of sales price. That is the transfer. Buyers have to pay $7.50, so you do save some versus the buyer who's buying your property. And then finally, of course, you have proration with taxes, and that's a whole other video, which I plan to do a taxes overview. In Cook County, unfortunately, taxes have gone up, and you do still owe, and taxes are paid in arrears. You owe taxes up to the closing. So that technically isn't, you're not giving money to the buyer, it's just your liability that you're crediting to the buyer. So those are just some of those closing costs, and I'm going to talk about prep costs coming up, which can add. So it's not necessarily cheap to sell, but home prices are still up, and so you can still come away, have a good walk-away number, and I'm happy to help you to find that number. Preparation is the key, right? So in the past, and basically in the pandemic and the run-up of last year in 2022, you could almost just put your property on the market. It could look just like how some people get out of bed and look, and it will sell. And you could probably do that, but you're not going to get top dollar. So there are some stuff we have to go back to basics, right? We got to consider definitely painting, making sure it's spotless. The property is spotless, your home. You can fresh coat of paint, changing the knobs on the pulls in the kitchen. Maybe consider refinishing the floors. Once that stuff is done, staging. Staging is really making a comeback, both real staging and digital. Real staging, of course, can run a couple $1,000s. Digital, any digital assets, promotional marketing, I cover. Something like staging is something we can chat about, but usually the seller covers staging. So all that, along with professional photography, is part of the preparation to get you top dollar. And of course, right, a lot of the cost is going to be the maintenance. If you have a building and a condo, the roof, the exterior, make sure you have a proactive association, because then you're going to pay for it if you don't have that stuff, as far as losing your net, if you don't get that stuff fixed ahead of time, as far as maintenance. So you've gone through these 4 questions, and number 5, which I think is very critical, is the client for life. Folks, I don't want to have a transaction with you if I'm fortunate and privileged to work with you. As I've been listening, hopefully listening to your needs and wants, I want to have you a client for life. So if you have any questions, even post-closing with maintenance, you need a handyman, you need a referral, please reach out to me, because the majority of my business, let me be very upfront, is word of mouth, is my professionalism, and that's how I grow my business. And while this isn't about me, by myself helping you, the hope, of course, down the road is you'll have people that will need to have my expertise, and I can help them. And also personally, first and foremost, again, you need a handyman, a plumber, for life. Anytime you can contact me. So this has been the 5 questions. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, of course, watch a couple other videos, and I can't wait to see you in the next video, which is posted every Thursday. Take care.